Imagine a place where the worst of humanity is locked away. A fortress of concrete and steel designed not for rehabilitation, but for containment. This is Blackgate Asylum, a high-security prison for the criminally insane and society's most dangerous monsters. Now, picture a young university student, Si-Yul, with soft eyes and a gentle smile, wrongly thrown into this nightmare because of a simple clerical error. He's not a monster. But in Blackgate, if you're not a monster, you're meat. And the hunt has already begun. Welcome to Soft Eyes in Iron Walls, a story that asks a terrifying question. What happens when a lamb is thrown into a den of wolves, and the alpha wolf decides he wants to keep him? Si-Yul is in his early 20s. He is the kind of person you'd pass on the street and not think twice about. He's quiet, polite, and his face seems built for kindness, not cruelty. The guards at Blackgate dismiss him. The other inmates see him as an easy target, and in his first week, that almost gets him killed. What they all fail to see is the quiet steel beneath his gentle exterior. A mind that observes everything, a body trained for discipline, and a resilience forged in a life that taught him to stay calm just to survive. In Blackgate, kindness is a weakness, and weakness is a death sentence. Then there's Silas Mortmain. At 31, Silas is one of Blackgate's most feared inmates, but not for the reasons you'd think. He doesn't scream or start fights. He's articulate, charming, and speaks so softly that people lean in to listen. Even the guards find themselves following his suggestions without quite knowing why. But beneath that polite surface is a man capable of surgical, terrifying violence. Silas is a master strategist who controls the prison's ecosystem through a vast network of information. He knows every secret, every plan, every weakness. He doesn't rule through chaos. He rules through order. His order, and he never, ever reacts emotionally. Until he sees Si-Yul. The first collision is brutal. A group of violent inmates corners Si-Yul, ready to tear him apart. The guards are nowhere to be found, but just as the first blow is about to land, a shadow falls over them. It's Silas. He doesn't raise his voice. He simply moves, dismantling the attackers with a horrifying efficiency that leaves them broken on the floor. He doesn't offer Si-Yul a hand or a kind word. He just studies him, his gaze intense and unreadable. In that moment, Silas sees two things with perfect clarity. Si-Yul is far more intelligent than he appears, and he will not survive this place alone. So, Silas makes a decision. He takes Si-Yul under his protection. Officially, Si-Yul becomes his assistant, a runner of messages, an observer of people, a pawn in Silas's intricate game. But unofficially, Si-Yul becomes something else entirely. He becomes Silas's obsession. Silas finds himself captivated by the contradictions in the young man. The way his gentle face hides an unbreakable will. The small dimple that only appears when he's truly relaxed and off his guard. The way he never begs for help, even when his eyes are wide with terror. And Si-Yul, in turn, begins to see past Silas's charming facade. He sees the barely contained violence simmering just beneath the surface. He notices the way Silas's eyes darken whenever someone gets too close to what he has claimed as his. He feels the suffocating weight of a feral possessiveness that Silas refuses to name. Their relationship becomes a dangerous dance in the dark, a deeply unbalanced, toxic, and yet undeniably real connection forged in the heart of hell. It's not love, as the world knows it. It's a bond of survival, obsession, and a desperate, shared reality within the prison walls. But in a place like Blackgate, any perceived weakness is an opportunity for your enemies. A rival faction, wanting to dethrone the prison's unofficial king, decides to strike at Silas through his most obvious vulnerability. They plan an ambush, and this time Silas isn't there to stop it. They succeed. Si-Yul is brutally attacked, beaten, and left for dead in a forgotten corner of the prison. When Silas finds him, broken and bleeding, something inside the unshakable, cold, and calculating man finally snaps. The strategist vanishes. The calm manipulator disappears. The polite facade shatters into a million pieces. All that's left is pure, unrestrained rage. Blackgate descends into a maelstrom of violence, as Silas tears through the prison on a singular, bloody mission of vengeance. He hunts down every single person involved, his fury a force of nature that no one can stop. The guards are powerless. Inmates scramble to hide. Even the warden, watching from his office, realizes with dawning horror that they have completely lost control. The monster they always feared, Silas Mortmain, has finally been unleashed. Silas is on the verge of burning the entire institution to the ground, lost in his rampage. But then, a weak hand reaches for his arm. It's Si-Yul, bandaged, bloody, but alive. He looks at the man who has become his protector, his captor, his everything, and with a faint voice, he begs him to stop. And for the first time in his life, Silas Mortmain listens. He stops. Not for the guards, not for the rules, not for himself, for Si-Yul. In the chaotic aftermath, the true nature of the game is revealed, and it's bigger than anyone inside Blackgate could have ever imagined. Silas was never just an inmate. Outside the prison, he is the heir to a vast, shadowed fortune. We're talking old money, private security firms, and political influence that can make or break careers. His imprisonment wasn't a punishment. It was a voluntary, calculated move, a way to get close to his enemies, gather information, and clean house on his own terms. With his immense resources now in play, Silas exposes the deep-rooted corruption within the prison system. He uncovers the truth behind the clerical error that sent an innocent student into a pit of vipers. Suddenly, doors that were locked tight swing wide open. Si-Yul's wrongful sentence is overturned. And Silas, he simply walks free, because he was only ever there by choice. They leave the iron gates of Blackgate behind them, stepping out into a world that feels too bright, too open, too free. For Si-Yul, it's a terrifying new reality. For Silas, now unbound by walls and rules, he is more powerful and dangerous than ever. It turns to Si-Yul and offers him a choice. Not protection, not control, but partnership, a place by his side, in a world far more complex and perilous than the one they just left. And Si-Yul, the boy who survived hell, who saw the monster and wasn't afraid, chooses him. He chooses the man who saved him and owned him, the man who broke for him, the man who is both his sanctuary and his greatest danger. Soft Eyes and Iron Walls ends not with a story of healing or redemption. They are not healed. They are not innocent. It is the story of two men who walked through the fire and came out the other side, hand in hand. Si-Yul, no longer the underestimated boy, but a man who knows his own strength. And Silas, who finally learned a measure of restraint, not because he had to, but because he chose to, for the one person who mattered chaotically. They are together, and they are fiercely, unshakably devoted to one another. If you're ready for a psychological thriller that dives headfirst into the darkest corners of obsession, loyalty, and a love that defies all reason, then you absolutely cannot miss Soft Eyes in Iron Walls. It's a story that will grab you by the throat and refuse to let go. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the stories you need to be reading.